IVM.
You're listening to TFG Football.
Hello and welcome to another episode of TFG Indian Football Podcast. It's an interesting time. ISL is in international break. I-League is going on full swing, and the Indian national team, the men's national team, I should say, because the women's national team is also in the news. The men's national team is taking on Jordan in an international friendly on the 17th. And the women's national team just got into the second round of the Olympic qualifiers. It's happening all over the place. On all fronts, Indian football is firing on all cylinders, I should say. And Kevin is with me. Kevin, how are you enjoying this flurry of activities? From September, it seems like we've just picked up pace, and it's just not going to stop. Indian football, we have the I-League, we have the ISL, the men's team, women's team, the junior teams. Everything is happening all at once. It seems like, it's a boom phase.
It is. It's always good to talk about matches that come to you thick and fast, and that's been the case for I-League and ISL. Although I-League has started a bit later than the ISL, but I think it's already grabbing all the attention that was needed for the top division. And ISL again, it's been in the spotlight because it's the second year that we see ISL and I-League running simultaneously, and it culminates so well when it comes to the national team. And both fronts, the women's national team and the men's national team are gearing into action. And thankfully, we're doing well. This is what we've been expecting for our national team to do well. So it's a good preparation for the men's team as to head into the Asian Cup. But the bigger picture, what we can see from the women's team is they're having a strong run. And particularly knowing that, in the Asian circuit where we've not made too much of a name, we've able to hold on to good strong teams and head. And the second round is obviously looking very positive from the way we've approached the first round, and great results to take forward to the second round. Yes.
Yeah, one win for the Indian women's national team. Got a 7-1 win over Bangladesh. That was always going to be a rout. Nepal held us to a draw, and Myanmar, although we lost the game, what was interesting was the way that Indian team, even after conceding early, did not give up and just kept to a rhythm and got the equalizer. Conceded a goal late in the game. That can happen. Myanmar team was more fit. And they were always going to have extra pressure in the final stages of the game. India were playing away. The gameplay was a little more conservative. They thought a draw was enough for them to top the group, and it came back to bite them in a way reminiscent of how Indian team used to be in 2013 or in 2014, the men's team. Similar kind of conservativeness. But what's interesting is that we're playing reasonably well, you would say, given how much time the AIFF has spent preparing the women's team. But we just don't seem to get any friendlies. The Indian national women's team does not play friendlies. They just go from one competitive tournament to another and still get kind of good results, but you would have to wonder if they just get a few friendlies going into in April, the Olympic qualifier second round is coming up, and if we have the South Asian Games before that, the SAF women's tournament before that. But if we are to do well in that, we need to play good friendlies like the men's team has been getting, the China friendly, or we're playing Jordan now. We're going to play Oman next. That's the kind of preparation you need for those tournaments as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's true of even the domestic season. The women's, it's hampered them for not playing on too many occasions, and the gaps between the tournament also, it hurts you because you're just out of touch. And when you come back to the camp, it's all start from scratch. you get in. It's not regular players that you can pick from. It's no. You really have to know. Give it to the coach over there because it's not an easy task to pick players whom you've not seen playing, and then you have them get in the camp where you really have to assess them from all aspects, all from the beginning. Because when you see a domestic season that pans out on a longer duration, you always it's easy for you to pick up players, but then when you don't see the players into action, it's a big task. I can understand. The women's team, the women's football is really not given that much attention as it must be because I think I see a lot of more potential in the women's team in from the last couple of matches or the tournaments that we played. They've really been shining in the way they've come back in matches where they've been trailing. So it really shows the test of the character is much higher than I would say at least the men's team because we've not seen a character of fighting back from the Indian team once we've down on too many occasions. But that's really ingrained in the women's national team there.
So we have that result. It's going to be exciting to see how they do in this Olympic qualifier second round in April. Meanwhile, in Indian Super League, Kevin, the FC Goa are on top. They played two more matches than Bengaluru FC. Bengaluru FC are on 13 points after 5. Goa have played seven matches, 16 points. And the top 4 seems to be, after we have every team has played like 6-7 matches, the top 4 seems to be becoming pretty clear. We have Northeast United falling down to the 5th spot. Jamshedpur FC has also hit a little bit of a stumble, although they're still undefeated. But it just seems like we have 80K sort of running out of steam. We have Kerala Blasters who just can't seem to win. Chennai FC 1 win after such a long wait. Delhi Dynamos Pune City no win. Who's been like? Who did you think would really do well but has not done well so far?
I'm really hoping a lot from Mumbai City. Initially, they did give you the hint that they're not going back to the Goenka's way when he was in charge of his first season. I think they did pretty well and they stayed there, but there was a slack in the second season. So I was really hoping Mumbai City get off to a great start, but that didn't happen. It really shook them off, but surprisingly they're again back there, and a couple of good results and. The ability for them to not concede too many goals, I think that has been the strength. Even though the sloppiness was there in the initial game, but holding on to a few goals conceded, I think that helped them to get their edge over the other matches over there.
And it just seems like some team that has really disappointed me, and this is second year in the running. It's FC Goa. And people will laugh like, what, they're top of the table right now. But look at their defensive record. It's like 12 goals conceded. They have such a great attack that can, produce results against any team out there. But they just keep conceding goals. It's baffling to me how they, the playbook was laid out for them after what happened last season. They knew that they were going to do well in the attacking side, but it was the defense that let them down. So what happened, from last season to this season, the team management had so much time to fix the defense. They've done nothing. And that's literally the only reason why I don't see them as favorites right now. It's because they're scoring more than anybody else. Like 21 goals they've scored. Next is Jamshedpur with 14 goals. Like you can see the heaven and hell difference. Sky and earth difference in the tally, but they just concede so many goals. It just does not compute how you can just sit there and not fix the problem after such a long time.
But Chiranjeev, looking at the other way, Lopera has already made it clear that even though it's not a clean sheet, irrespective of whatever the number of goals are conceded, he's looking at the win. He's not looking at the goals conceded. So I think it's pretty clear when you go ahead. I think it's just following the same policy that they've gone ahead last year.
But the last year they lost in the semi-finals. It doesn't work like this. This is a league season where you need to deliver consistently, and if the defense is not uh, you know up to the mark, then somebody's going to find a way to clamp down on the attack and score more than you can score, and that's when you're just going to end up not being at the top. And ultimately, it's about winning the trophy, and if you or finishing top of the table. It's if you're not doing it, then what's the point? Great matches, explosive games. Every game that FC Goa are playing sees like 4-5 goals. But what's the point if they are not able to deliver with this team?
Yeah, but I think in a way, this may just work out for them to reach the playoffs. I think that's the whole key point here, to make it to the
Yeah,
playoffs.
but then you go into the playoffs and Bengaluru FC just plays a game of containment, and then you're out of the tournament, and you don't even get to the top of the table. So there's no respect either way. It's a bit disappointing, man.
It's difficult for them to just being holding on to a clean sheet, and it is a bit of surprising that there's no effort put into getting that clean sheet, even though they are scoring a lot of goals. But what's been the most unsurprising team? Whom I will obviously pick up Northeast United, the way they've gone ahead and surprised. They were expected to be there at the bottom of the table, and then all of a sudden you see them going all guns blazing, and in a matter of time they were topping the table when teams were struggling to get results by themselves, and they finally were beaten by Mumbai City. And I was just talking about how it's been a recovery for Mumbai City. So I'm pretty surprised and pleasantly happy the way Northeast United have approached this season. Just continuing with the assistant coach from last season, it makes a lot of difference. But the number of signings that they got, and I think it's key that your players deliver, even though you have from the management side you have somebody continuing. It's all up to the players. If you're not able to deliver, if you're not able to hold on to those key moments where you can finish, or you can just draw a game. And it's been the difference for Northeast United this season.
Yeah, it seems like they have figured out one thing, that investing a huge number of players on past prime European players, sorry, huge number of money on past prime European players. Rather than doing that, they can get cheaper talent from Nigeria who can actually deliver better results. It seems like the I-League clubs had something figured out. That's why they kept bringing over players from Africa. And Ogbeche, wow, what a performance! 6 goals in 6 matches. He's just killing it. And he's got the midfield to back him up. He's got the supply line intact pretty much. Gets like 5-6 vital passes every game, and he's happily scoring. And Northeast United are winning. Although it's a problem, I would say, because how many goals they've scored. They've scored so far 10 goals. 6 of them have come from this one guy. Somebody clamps him down somehow. Suddenly, Northeast United are in a huge problem, and the same thing happened in the Northeast United versus Mumbai City game. He was on extra guard duty, and he just got the win like that.
Yeah, that happens when you have one scorer available, and you don't have your other players in the team coming forward and stepping up to try to score goals. So you will go down after a while. It just works for a couple of matches, and we did see it happening with Northeast United. Unless they can change things around and probably reduce the dependency on Ugabeche.
So we have that happening. So who has really made you pleasantly surprised, or made you happy this season? Is it Northeast United you're going to go with, or somebody else is there as well?
That's been the team of the season so far, but at least the first half, we could say. And again, we didn't expect Jamshedpur to go ahead in a way. They finished the last season. They came close to reaching the playoffs, but narrowly missing it out over there. So Jamshedpur, probably will be the second team that has been doing well. Again, unbeaten so far, but no, this is a team that's not holding too many big stars, but it's an overall performance by the team. The defense is well backing the midfielders, and the midfield also, it always keeps you in the game, and that's been the case for Jamshedpur FC. The balance between not scoring and not able to concede. That's I think how they've been able to scrape through so far. So I think Jamshedpur FC is right up there.
I mean, imagine a couple of good attackers being added to Jamshedpur FC. I mean, if they can release a couple of misfiring players and just sort out their attack, they can be title contenders. And you know what Jamshedpur FC reminds me of? It reminds me of ATK from 2016. Okay, it's the same kind of sneaking through, not winning, just one goal wins here and there, somehow just getting enough points to get into the playoffs. And once they're in playoffs, then they can play, the dirty game of, just clamp down on the other attack and maybe win by penalties. Because who cares? It's a tournament. It's a cup tournament, and you can win by penalties and be called champions. So I think Jamshedpur FC at this point are the dark horses of the tournament. Do you agree?
Yeah, that's right. Jamshedpur FC has been there right in the middle. They've not performed too well, but they've not performed too badly as well. So quite a good run for them so far in the league. Chiranjeev, do you feel there's any way back for FC Pune City here?
I don't know, man. It seems too late. How far they are? How 7 matches, 2 points? Like, how are you going to make up 8 points? Right now, the threshold is at 7 matches, 11 points for Jamshedpur FC. There's a very good chance that that's going to be pushed down if Northeast United beat Kerala Blasters in their 7th game. So then the bottom threshold will be for top 4, 13 points. So at this point, Pune City will be 11 points down. How do you make a comeback for that? And I think the season is over for Delhi Dynamos, for Pune City, for Chennai FC. I don't care how many matches they win. Kerala Blasters, I'm not very sure. They just don't seem to be having that winning mentality, and it's a bit disappointing. It just seems like that fighting spirit is not there, and part of it is because it's a fan-driven club, right? How the fans react will give the management a lot to think about. But the way the fans were elated when Kerala Blasters were getting draw after draw simply because they were in the top 4, that kind of sealed the fate. Because remember, it was the fans who wanted David James back. The fans who wanted David James to stay after chip the ball to the striker's chest gate that happened last year. And they were doing the same thing. They were getting draws. And because ISL is a top 4 game, not a title race, everybody was happy. And that's what led to this, because they just grew content in just getting draws. And if you're happy getting draws, then you end up losing eventually. And I just don't know if they can make a comeback from here. Same thing.
I think what you're pointing out exactly, it can be worked and applied to Pune City as well. Last season was the perfect season for them. The way
they were attacking last season. They had spirit last season.
And it was so aggressive that it overflowed at times, and we saw so many suspensions happening. But again, that should have continued. That's what my feeling was. So when you have a team doing so well with a change of mentality, you've seen coaches come in with different mentalities, and this was exactly what the team needed, and they delivered. I really don't know. Probably it could have been different aspects for not having Rankovic continue, but I think he was the perfect man for them. In a way that was suiting the style of play, but it really went the opposite way when Portugal was appointed, because we've seen the work that he did with Delhi Dynamos. It wasn't really acceptable for the team that was present at last season. And this season we talked about Pune City having the key players in different positions. We had even the core retained. That really led to the belief that probably the right team, but not the right manager or the coach. And it really showed in the first two games. But sacking the coach in after the third game was a big surprise for everybody. And I think it's in a very similar situation for Pune City. I mean, just as you pointed out for Kerala Blasters.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mess that they are in, man. But Pune City are in a way worse position. Similar with Delhi Dynamos, I would say. Dude, this is where I come back to the point of having Indians as head coaches, because Delhi Dynamos, remember when they did the draft, we were so excited about the Delhi Dynamos team because they were picking up so many Indian talents who were gonna blossom and deliver down the line. Well, at that point, you needed a good Indian head coach who understood what these guys need. And every time Delhi Dynamos just keep changing the head coach, and somebody who comes in who's got limited exposure and experience of Indian football and has a limited expertise in terms of how to groom the Indian talent from this generation. Because it's always a specialist job. It's always different from generation to generation what kind of grooming they need, and this is what you end up with, man. It's just Delhi Dynamos. I don't even remember when was the last time they won a match. Probably back in February or something. 4 draws, 4 losses. It's a mess. And the Dynamos Ultra have a upside down poster. It's a rather unfortunate thing to look at.
The story very similar to what they are going through right now. Upside down poster.
It's a good metaphor. Chennai FC, man. The only thing about that really bothers me about Chennai FC is because they're gonna represent India in the AFC Cup, and this is when they mess up. They won the trophy. They were in a high. They kept the same coach. They kept the same core team. They went into this season. Suddenly, everything just fell apart. What just happened? I mean, I have no idea. It's like this was Chennai FC's season. This is the time you go to play in Asia. You're representing India. You have, the eyes of the nation on you, and this is when you mess up. You just turn up and show no consistency from your last successful season, and then what? What do you think went wrong here?
I think what I feel is ISL should implement the policy of changing coaches every year. We've not seen a coach who's been retained for the second year running they've done in the first year.
I mean, we had Materazzi in Chennai FC. We have other coaches being retained. We had the initial coach of ATK who served for a couple of years. It's not like coaches should have a time limit on how long they're gonna be there, but
just going by the trend, we've not seen a coach who's running for the second year or the second season do well consistently. So I think the same problem is with Chennai FC. They stuck to their coach, they stuck to their core team, expecting similar results, but all of a sudden it just fails. Maybe it's not the energy that was there in the first season. Maybe it's too much pressure after being defending champions or having a successful season. It just dies out, when you have the same coach and similar players running in the second year.
I don't know, man. I think one thing that I would say is that the Indian strikers are not delivering. JJ has not delivered. Gregory Nelson and Salom have scored 1 goal apiece. You got Thoy Singh scoring 3 goals, who's the top scorer of the team, right? But his job is not to score goals, right? What this shows is that the attackers are successfully contained by the opponents. So you have other wingers and midfielders and sometimes defenders getting a goal or 2, right? So that this just means you can't be winning matches if the striking department fails. And Chennai FC, on paper they are a good team. On every indication says they should be in the top 3. If you go by the strength of the core team, and they just end up conceding way too many goals and not scoring as many. So now we have a situation where they are fighting for the fighting to be top of the table from the bottom, and it's just a bad look for Indian football because they're going in, and guess what's going to happen? They're not going to get 7-8 foreigners to help them out. They're going to get just 4 when they go into AFC Cup, and then what happens? Right, and so this is a bit unfortunate to look at. But anyway, enough of ISL for now. Some teams are obviously Bengaluru FC. We don't even need to talk about them because everybody thought they were going to be top of the table, and they're going to be top of the table pretty soon. Doesn't matter. Yeah, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. I League though, big surprise is that ISL FC are at the bottom of the table all of a sudden. And they were not even bottom of the table in their first season, like when they were relegation candidates. The team just does not seem to have that morale this season. I think something has happened, man. Something has happened with the management, with the way the team is run. It's just because they have a good coach in Git Raikhan. The team is not significantly worse than last season. So what's just bringing them down now?
Just looking at the losses that they had, it's not bad ones. It's not terribly played. It's just that their strikers are not just able to get in those clear-cut chances, and that's in short, it really can't pick out any problems for this from this Israel team. The ingredients look right for a decent run. But probably, they should pick up after this fifth game. So, 2 draws and 2 losses. I don't think it's a bad situation to be in as of now. But what's worrying is not having clear-cut chances in front of goal. So that is, the more troublesome part, rather than being bottom after 4 matches. I think they should pick up pace in a while.
All right, we're going to pause for a short break now. On the other side, we're going into all the details about the I-League.
Hey everybody, it's another awesome week on IVM Podcast. If you're not following us on social media, please make sure you do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. This week on Cyrus Says, Cyrus talks to journalist Rachel Lopez about her Taxi Ceiling art series and her own podcast, Wordy Wordpecker, available only on the IVM network. On Simplified, Chuck, Naren, and Shrika deconstruct the latest UN report on climate change and why the next 2 decades might be the most important for the Earth. On the latest special episode of Paisa Vaisa, Anupam talks to Hansi Malhotra, an investment professional and owner of the financial blog, themoneyhunts.com. On Shunya One, Sheila Ditya and I speak to Arpit Ratan, co-founder of SignZ, a fintech company that makes regulatory processes for bank and other financial institutions simple, secure, and compliant. On the Kinetic Living podcast, Coach Urmi talks to childhood buddy and actor Shikat Alsaniab. She elaborates on her fitness journey and how she balances work, diet, and the need to stay fit. And just a reminder, guys, please tell a friend. You need to tell a friend that you're listening to a podcast that you like and get them to listen to the podcast that you think they will like. And with that, let's take you on with your show.
Shillong Lajong, you were so happy when they won the first game. And the 3 losses back to back after that. What do you think, man? What just went wrong? They just seem to be getting called out now. Like they lost to Arrows. They're being dominated at this point.
Yeah. That I was over the moon when the first win came along. But I also had to keep aside thinking that we don't have any foreigners in this team. And that really hurts them. When you do plan to go ahead with an all-Indian young side, we are talking about a young side because Lajong, as we know, they have their youth is their strength. You can call them a mix of Indian Arrows team and a self-made academy that they've come up with. But what really had them being in one of the mid-table teams was the foreigners that they included. I think they were the missing pieces that the team lacked. Wherever there was a fault that could arise, I think that was filled up well by the foreigners. And that's exactly the problem that we see over here. Because, at some point in time, you have to be a bit competitive. And when you lose at the advantage, it's not an advantage. It's something that is offered to you to, be as competitive as the other teams. And you choose not to take it. So you will be, tested for that. And that's been the case so far. For me, I think Airzol will even pick up, but Lajong will probably keep going down. That is what my feeling is, unless they can just shift things around with a bit of more of possession play, and to not lose the ball too often. I do see the midfield just all over the place at times.
At this point, I want to reserve judgment on some teams like Churchill Brothers, 3 draws. Okay, let's give them some time. Minerva Punjab, 1 loss, 1 draw, 1 win. They're not firing all cylinders. Let's give them some time as well. Neroka, Mohan Bagan, Gokulam as well. Just let them be for a bit, because none of these teams are showing their full potential yet. But let's talk about the top two. Chennai City and East Bengal. East Bengal started so strong. They looked like favorites. They had a good, a good team assembled despite the transfer ban. And by the way, there's going to be on Friday a hearing which may see the transfer ban being lifted. And then if they go on and sign more players by January, imagine how strong they're going to be. But Chennai City, what a start. And what a commanding lead at the top of the table. What did they do right, man, this time?
I think this is what you get when you have your own ground, when you have your management not being too much affected by politics. Obviously, it must be in some way, but not again. We're talking about not too much pressure being added by teams like where you've been in the corporate clubs, where you're not freely given the choice of what you want to go ahead with. So this is a result of that. 3 years from the time they started, and this is how you want to see a team grow. And I think what's going well with the team is, I think they know, every player knows over here how to contain the opposite team so well that you negate their strengths and keep up the pace for the 90 minutes. I think we've seen a team grow. I always keep pointing out in the first season of Chennai City that they are not a 90-minute team. They always fizzle out towards the end of the second half, and now that's become the strength. Look at them playing all out, even when you see the full time whistle approaching, and that's the key. That's how they were able to get that goal just before the full time. 87 minutes is when the winner was scored against East Bengal, and that gives you the edge when you're able to field a side that's able to run, that's able to contain, that's able to fight till the last second.
But I think a big credit goes to Akbar Nawaz, the coach of Chennai City. He's from Singapore. He speaks Tamil pretty well. I think we talked about him extensively when he came in, and this guy is somebody who delivers. It's not like he's just he's a young coach, and every single time he has taken up the reins of a major team, they have always performed well, and that's his record, man. It's like Tampines Rovers, he was coaching back in 2016 and 2016-2017. They finished runner-up in the Singapore Premier League. Right, and in the cup tournament also they reached the final. He was coaching Global in the Philippines, and they also were runner-up in the league. So he always goes in there and tries to win, and every single team that he manages ends up in the top, and that might have been a huge factor in the way Chennai City have reacted. And just look at the way the team has performed this time. It's like they've got so many good Spanish players who have come in, and Pedro Manzi is a revelation. Sandro and Pedro have such a brilliant combination partnership happening out there. Nestor has been so good. It just seems like he has hit the right chord in terms of how to make this team work, and use the Indians as basically. I don't know if I should go out and say that, but It seems like the Indians are playing that main role in the defense and supporting roles elsewhere, and and the Spanish guys are just taking care of business. What do you think, man?
Yeah. No, it's a style that has been incorporated with the strength of the Indian player, and as exactly you pointed out, I think this is where you can make the difference when you know the strength of your team and you're given that free hand. He shaped the team well from the time he got in charge. From last season, we saw him take charge a bit later, but he's learned what needs to be extracted, how it's to be extracted from this team, and probably I can just make a small comparison. This is what Shillong Lajong is lacking. There's key foreigners in prominent positions that can make the difference in your team.
Yeah, I mean, this is brilliant. Minerva Punjab owner Ranjit Bajaj was tweeting at Rohit Ramesh saying like, "Hey, bro, how does it feel to be top of the table?" But guess what? He's doubling down. Chennai City are actually keeping the top of the table to themselves for the time being. They were a good lead. That's historic. This is probably the best, and I would say easily the best team that Chennai City FC have had in their goalkeeper. And I don't remember a last time when a team from Tamil Nadu that did so well in the top division league. That's historic as well. And guess where else Chennai City have made history, Kevin? They are the first professional club in the history of Indian football to sign two foreign goalkeepers. Sorry, two foreign goalkeepers. They've got Tyson, they've got Santana, and leaving them all on the bench, it's Taufik who's playing all the matches. Imagine. So this works though. This works. Taufik has been good so far, but if the pressure gets turned up, then they can have an extra foreigner in the outfield by getting a goalkeeper in here. But wait, how many foreigners do they have in the outfield? They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, six foreigners so far. They have signed, right? 6 foreigners. So they still have one more left. In January, they're probably going to sign another foreigner, and then we're going to see some magic happen in Chennai City. So. We might have another surprise team that's just going for it this time. To Minerva Punjab last season, ISL FC before that, Chennai City dark horse. What do you say?
Yeah, probably. It's a great run so far, and I think we have the right balance. What is required to stay at the top, or at least challenge for the title.
Yes, and this is another bit of a irony that. Rohit Ramesh vehemently opposed the idea of I-League increasing the number of foreigners allowed in every team. And it seems like his team is getting a huge benefit out of having more foreigners in the team. So, I don't know, man. I never liked the idea of having more foreigners than AFC allowed in the domestic league. But, what's happening is happening. Let's see how Chennai City do it. But the biggest newsmaker in Indian football right now, the most interesting, the most revelatory, the most historic presence in Indian football right now is Real Kashmir FC. And we've seen how them coming into the top division has rejuvenated the valley, the sports culture over there. How you just look at the Greater Kashmir or Kashmir Mirror, all those newspapers. Every single day the headline would be something about gunfire breaks out in this part and this many people die, and this time it's just all about Real Kashmir FC. It's all about the football. It's all about the game. All the players have become local heroes. It seems like how the kind of effect that ISL FC had when they were in first couple of seasons when they were in I-League. Same thing with Neroka when they came into the I-League, and they just became folk heroes. It's like an entire state's identity is being carried by this one team. People are turning up. It's almost a sellout every game, and it just feels so good to see a club from Kashmir making into the top division by merit and getting good results. They beat Minerva Punjab. That was nothing to scoff at, isn't it?
Yeah, that's there. When we talk about the next step for a team, it's always the motivation that's driving you. Minerva Punjab, the way they entered the season, when they entered the I League, they really didn't look like title challengers. And same goes for Chennai City, same goes for Neroga, same goes for Real Kashmir. Real Kashmir did get off to a bang of a start, defeating the champions on the first opening day. And probably from there, they got noticed, and they're still right there. One loss, one draw, one win, and I think how they fare well in the matches where the title contenders will be up. I want to really see Chennai City versus Real Kashmir. That's the game that we're looking forward to, and that will be a good watch, definitely.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how, especially the city-based teams, sort of react. See, Churchill Brothers is kind of a folksy team with a lot of players coming from the rural areas. You have these teams like East Bengal, Mohun Bagan. Mohun Bagan are going there next. You have Minerva Punjab, who have a lot of players who have been in the system for a long time, right? In the Indian football system, which is city based. The players come from the rural areas, but they come and stay in the cities and train. So it's just that prospect of seeing this young blood Kashmiri team going up against the best in Indian football, and it's I think the iconic moments are going to be East Bengal and Mohun Bagan, because you just know these are the teams that have been the flag bearers of Indian football for so long. Mohun Bagan went to play one of the first high-level football matches ever to happen in Kashmir. Like a couple of years back, Mohammedan Sporting was the first one, to visit a Kashmir 11 team and play in Srinagar. Then Mohun Bagan went and played a friendly. That sort of, those friendlies sort of kick-started the modern era in Kashmir football. And then Lone Star Kashmir almost made it to the top division. Then we had Real Kashmir finally doing it, coming in. How excited are you to see those games taking place at 6,100 feet and really testing these big teams to their limit?
We saw Mohun Bagan struggle at Aizawl there, the playing conditions and that match. How can you forget that match? It's just similar memories that help you understand that it's difficult to play at a condition where the home team is accustomed to for so long, and it's already the weather is going on the lower side. The temperature is hitting the lower degrees. This gets difficult for the away teams to come and even get accustomed to the weather there, let alone playing the free flow game that they would be expecting to come along with. Yes, it's going to be a treat for the fans to watch. It's going to be a test for the big teams. It's going to be a test for players who've not played in those conditions. So probably advantage Real Kashmir there.
Yeah, let's see what happens and how these teams react. Mohun Bagan, for their part, Shankarlal Chakraborty told us after the Indian Arrows game that they want to go there early. They want to get some extra sessions out there because if history is anything to go by, when the altitude gets higher, the trouble that Mohun Bagan find themselves in also gets deeper and deeper. So that's all about I-League right now. We have a delightful relegation race coming up, a delightful title race coming up. The derbies are going to start kicking in next month, and we will see where this goes, the top division. All right, so this is where we're going to wrap up today. But guess what? This week we're going to have more than one episode coming your way. We're going to give you another episode tomorrow, which will be all about the upcoming international friendly between Jordan and India. We're going to go into details about the opponents, about the whole issue with Sunil Chhetri missing out the match. So come back to us tomorrow. Great to see you back again. Bye.
Every week comes a show where three people come together to tell you about stuff they like. A movie, a TV show, a book, and other stuff. Tune in every Monday on the IVM Podcast app to IVM Likes. Batman approves this message. Thank you, Batman.
Long, long ago, not in Bethlehem, but in a place nearby, there was a wonderful birth of a huge show, which I like to call Cyrus Says. A show that encapsulates everything in human history, from the first Homo sapien to the last Homo sapien, who's traversed the entire world and then come back to India. This is a show which tells you everything about everything. If you want to know, avoid Google, come to us. It's called Cyrus Says. Get new episodes every Monday and Thursday on the IVM Podcast app, website, or wherever you get your podcasts from. It's simple as A, B, oh God, what comes after that?